enthusiastic bunch.
It's 9 a.m.
I know, it's 9 a.m. for all of us. Yeah, you guys just get to sit there and absorb it all. Right. Search process is super easy. Really easy. Maybe I'll even get you out early today. But first, let's talk about. But first, I'm not making any promises. But first, let's talk about what you did last semester, because from my conversations with Professor Abramson, maybe there need to be some slight tweaks. And so is who did a whole bunch of discovery stuff last semester? Did you draft discovery requests? Do you remember? I know it's been long, long ago.
We did a quick interrogatory.
You did quick interrogatories. You didn't do requests for admissions, or did you? Didn't draft anything in that class? There's a multiplicity of answers on that. Yeah. Drafting questions and answers. Were you McNeil? You're Abramson. Okay.
No, McNeil.
No. Did you cover discovery with McNeil? Yeah, a little. Okay. I mean, it's most. You have a bunch of it baked into the syllabus. Okay, I have a bunch of discovery stuff baked into the syllabus this semester. Right? Yeah, I'm glad you're excited. We can change that, but the reason I got it in there is because that's a lot of what you're going to be doing in your litigation, right? If you are litigators, those of you that have done some summer work at a law firm that does litigation probably already know this. Because one of the worst things you can do is sit and answer discovery all day long, and then get up the next morning and answer discovery all day long, and then get up the next morning and answer discovery, right? But it's good to know how to do that stuff. So I can dial back, if that's what you guys want, is you feel like you got it, and you understand how that is all supposed to work, then, you know, at least to a degree, then okay, we'll back off some of the discovery stuff and get into more of the bar prep topics. If you don't want to do that, we can do more discovery. What do we think? We're going to do some discovery. You're not getting away
There's a
from
lot
this
of
stuff.
discovery and probably doing for at least a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's deposition stuff, there's request for admissions, there's interrogatories, there's request for production of documents. Does everybody know what all that stuff is? Okay. Yeah, as long as you have some sort of baseline for that information. That's what, okay. Who would rather do more bar prep stuff than discovery? Who would rather do more discovery than bar prep stuff? You guys know fine. Fine. All right. So I'll change that around with you.
I'm staying for
All right, thank you. That's no problem. And what about the trial practice stuff? I know there's a whole separate class for trial practice, which is why I didn't put a bunch of that stuff in. Yeah. What would they, right?
What is that?
Like voir dire and jury instructions and directed verdict stuff, that kind of thing. Stuff you would actually be doing at trial. How many of you want to be trial lawyers? A few? Okay. Let me rethink that one. Okay. How many of you intend to take trial practice? Or be on the trial team? A few? Okay. Not a whole lot of interest, because you know they end up never trying a case, right? You know, everything sucks. All right. So now you have drafted this complaint, this masterwork that we did last Friday, and you are ready. You are ready to litigate and make gobs and gobs of money as a plaintiff's lawyer. Sorry, it's not fun. Okay. Somebody had a question? No. Okay. So you got this complaint, and now what are you going to do with it? Start litigating for town discovery requests? Schedule depositions? That kind of thing? No. We're studying service of process. Welcome. We're studying service of process. And what that means is you got to get that complaint, that's now in its finished form, and deliver it to the person you're complaining against. But you can't just deliver it any old way. You can't just throw it in an envelope, slap a stamp on it, and hope it gets to the right place. You have to serve the defendant properly. Okay? That's what this is all about. And it sounds pretty simple, right? You got this thing that sits on top of your complaint called a summons. Has anybody ever drafted a summons? Oh, good, you. Federal summons, like most things federal, you can retrieve right off that federal court website. This is what it looks like. Right? Not that. Okay, I'll say. This thing, right? Simple form you fill in. Name, defendant, name, address, etc. Has to be issued by a clerk. Proof of service isn't always filled out by the person who served. Good to look at those. We'll look at those in a little more detail in just a bit. Serve that along with a copy of the complaint on the defendant. Who gets to serve? What does the rule say about who gets to serve a complaint? Did you read the rule? Yeah, go ahead. Not quite one of them. Go ahead. What does the rule say? Who can serve it? Now, the clerk has to issue the summons. Don't get confused about that, right? Go back to rule 4, A and B. The clerk has to issue the summons, right? So you don't get to just fill out your own summons and sign your name where the clerk's name should be underneath the signature line that says clerk. Neil? Anyone is what the rule says. Anyone that's not a party, right? Let's look at the rule. Sometimes the rule is helpful. Right? By whom? Okay. 4C2. By whom? This rule is one of the more comprehensive. Any person, right, who's at least 18 years old and not a party. You're suing someone, you can't just walk over to them and say, here you go. You gotta get somebody else to do it. What's the reason for that, do you think? Why can't a party serve? What do you think might be the rationale that underlies that? Right. Well, yes, that's part of it, yes. Think about if there's an issue with service. Think 2 or 3 steps in the future, right? Think if there's an issue with service of process as to whether or not it was properly effected. Right? Yeah.
The defendant can say that it wasn't served properly.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then it's party A against party B on the issue of service of process, along with everything else. Right? Don't want that. Want a neutral third party who's sometimes served. Right. And what's it like to be a process server? Are the people who make their living just serving process? Oh yes. Yes. So if you're disenchanted.
Let's tear it down. Let's tear it down.
We're giving him the lawsuit, right? With these summons on top. So that's what's happening.
wow, because you have got third on the air.
Absolutely, man. Talk about predators, people.
Right there.
Compliance, by the way, and the divorce practice in particular, but compliance practice overall, can get really nasty about this stuff. I want you to serve, make sure that he gets served. With this complaint, when he's having Thanksgiving dinner, and they go out to the cranberry sauce. I mean, like that, they get really, don't fall for that. Just get it served the right way. Don't fall into these sort of vindictiveness trap. It's going to lead to violent outcomes. But all the times I've had somebody served with process or subpoena or anything like that, I don't remember any instances of violence. That's it, we serve. Every question is looking like this.
Why? Who's on the charge?
He's on charge. He's not paying somebody.
I mean, somebody else. You believe in shoes?
No, you have to look down. I'm not paying.
So that's the life of service process server. More or less fun to be a lawyer. I don't decide how does this thing get served? What are the proper ways in which you can do it? Well, we know that just plopping it in a regular old envelope with a forever stamp and sending it to the defendant's address, last known address, that's not going to do it. Okay. So what do we do? Well, the federal rule, E1, 4E1, I should say 4E1, says you follow state law for serving summons in an action brought in court's general jurisdiction and say whether this word located where it's spent. Okay. Translate that to English form. What does that mean? Do what the state says, and how do you find out what the state says? In their rules of civil procedure. I didn't assign it to you. Did anybody look at the Kentucky rules of civil procedure? What do you think would be the analog to, I don't know, let's say, Federal Rule 4A in the Kentucky rules? Have you figured out the conversion table yet? 4, say again? 4.01, right? Kentucky Civil Rule 4.1. Okay. What's the second? Federal Rule CR 4.1. That's not good. Statute of rules. There it is. And this is a helpful guide. I'll read it to you, I'll assume you can read it yourself. But you file a complaint, you get the summons, and in the direction of the initiating party, or client, you either, and then it gives you a whole bunch of different ways that you can do this. Right? The most common way in Kentucky, and probably in most places, is certified mail, restricted receipts, right? Restricted delivery returns. Right? Only one person can sign. It's pretty safe. It's pretty safe. If you want to have it personally served, of course you can do it. Of course you can do it. If you are filing a complaint in Kentucky, in the Kentucky State Court, do you go and use this form on top of your complaint? We'll be asking if the answer is yes. What form do you attach to your complaint? And this nice neat little package that you can send certified mail to your defendant or have personally served. What do you put on there? Hearing some whispers, so what do you think? So what happened? The Kentucky version of this, right? Yeah. Yeah. You know how we have the state system and then we got the federal system? And the state system's got its rules, the federal system's got its rules. The federal system has this form, and the state system has its own form. Okay? You fill out that form, stick it on top of your complaint, get it served. Right? Simple. Simple, right? It serves some way prescribed by the means there in Rule 4.01, or 4.02, or 4.03, or 4.04, right? Your state Rule 4. Who can get served? There's one thing to say, serve the defendant, right? Put that complaint in the defendant's hand personally, that's fine. But human beings are involved here. You may not always get to do that. Or he says you deliver to him personally, or you can leave it in their dwelling, or usual place of abode. If you did the reading, no, usual place of abode kind of means usual and kind of can mean unusual. With someone of suitable age and discretion who resides there. Just a quick pulse check on this. How do you know what someone of suitable age and discretion, what does that mean? What's suitable age? The rules tell you? Do they? I don't think the rules say. Right?
Is it in common law?
Well, I think you can look at the case law for whatever jurisdiction you're in. Right? Look at the case law. Look at something. Some other outside source, right? All this stuff. Remember, think back to your first year writing class. All this stuff matters. Every last little clause of each one of these rules can be the subject of quite a lot of research. And law review articles. Good on your own. That's okay. Great. Not enough. Suitable age and discretion, what does that mean? Well, we gotta look up. Who resides there? What does that mean? Now we gotta look at it. Okay? Make sure you know what it is you're doing. What it is you're getting into before you try to search the complaint. Because there's lots of ways to do it wrong, as you know if you did read it. Right? Delivering a copy of each to an agent. What's an agent? How do I know what an agent of the defendant is? Show up, give it to the defendant's secretary, and think, oh, okay, that was an agent. Good enough. No? Neil, you got anything?
Oh, I was just saying a couple of
Yeah, yes.
The federal corporation has registration process. If you're not in a state, then you can have Secretary of State or state.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. In Kentucky, and that's different from state to state. Right? So watch out for that. Yes, you got your hand.
I was just going to say, when you use our secretary website,
Yes, yeah, yeah. So we're talking about individual defendants. That's one thing, right? This will allow you to serve an individual defendant's agent. Somebody has an agency relationship with an individual defendant. Now, if your defendant is a corporation, as it often is, then you've got registered agents for service of process. How do we find out who registered agent for service of process is? Well, as you say, look on the Kentucky Secretary of State's website. Right? And that's true in most states. Right? That's true in most states. You'll have some listing on the Secretary of State's website of business filings or business records or something like that. You go on there, you click on the business that you're trying to stick it to, and it will tell you who registered agents. Super important stuff, not contained in your book, right? You're getting your money's worth this morning. Isn't this fun? Okay. Waiver. Waiver. The nice thing about the waiver provision, this is fairly new in the rules of procedure. We didn't have this when I was a wee lad growing up in Wall Street. Look at the bottom. I'll write that down in the book. Somewhere back here. Look at the bottom of your Rule 4, wherever you got it. All the way down, all the different provisions, ALM. Why are we getting this right? Here's the form. Notice the lawsuit, request to waive service of summons. Okay? And you can just type this up on your letterhead and send it over to the defendant and request that they waive service of process. Now, why would you do that? Let's talk about the plaintiff's incentive to do that. What is the plaintiff's incentive to ask for a waiver of service of process? I can think of two. There's probably more. Yeah, help.
Save money.
Well, it might save money, right? Might save money. That's sort of the minor one. What's the big one? What's the big incentive the plaintiff has to have the defendant waive service of process? What? I can't hear. Oh, no. Plaintiff. We'll talk about that. Again, think ahead 2 or 3 steps. Kelsey.
They can't try and say the service process wasn't.
That's it. Yeah, you have it in black and white from the defendant that they waive service of process. So there's no more service of process issues that you're ever going to litigate later on in the case. Right? That's important because those are really annoying. Okay? Those are really annoying. Unless you thoroughly enjoy your reading this week. Reading case law about service of process gone awry. Right? Litigating that stuff usually has nothing to do with the court issues that you really want to litigate, or the court issues that affect the parties in the first place. Right? It is the very definition of technical lawyer. So can you put your defense hat on? Can you put the plaintiff in a real bind if they don't effectuate service of process properly, even if you know about the lawsuit, even if you participate in the litigation? Can you then come back later and say, oh wait, we didn't get proper service of process? Yes, you can. The answer is yes, you can. We'll look at some examples of that too. What's the defendant's incentive to wait? Yeah.
They have longer to respond.
They have longer to respond. That's the carrot. That's the carrot. What's the stick? What's the stick? Look at the rule. What else might take longer to respond? Let's say I'm a defendant and I'm like, I just don't want to get served for process. Screw that plaintiff. I'm going to make him really work for it. I'm going to make him hire warning order attorneys and so on and so forth. Yeah. Yeah, you could be on the hook for some fees. That's the thing. You could be on the hook for some fees and costs associated with trying to effectuate service of process. That is the stick. That is the stick. So as defense counsel, you get one of these requests for waiver, you can stop thinking, is this really worth it? That's the point of this rule provision. Right? Instead of a fairly new rule provision. That's the point. Is because you get too many people that want to play games around service of process instead of actually litigating their claims. And the rule drafters are like, no, we don't want that. Okay. Make sense? Now, you can still, with your defense hat on, remember that you can waive service of process under this rule, but you can still contest jurisdictional issues. You can always contest subject matter jurisdiction. The ability to contest subject matter jurisdiction never ever goes away. Remember that from last semester, right? You can always do that at any point in litigation. That's something important to remember. Subject matter jurisdiction, you can always contest. Personal jurisdiction, this doesn't take your ability away to contest personal jurisdiction either. Just because you waive service of process doesn't mean that you're accepting that the court has jurisdiction over you. Okay. So you may waive without fear, more or less. All right. Defendant doesn't get served within 90 days after the complaint is filed. Then the defendant gives notice to the plaintiff and can do what? You're the defendant, you haven't been served within 90 days. As a matter of strategy, what do? You can make a motion to dismiss. And then the court will dismiss the action, must dismiss the action, right? Without prejudice. What does it mean to dismiss without prejudice? Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah, yeah. So if you dismiss with prejudice, it means we've adjudicated your claims and they ain't no good. They're going away, right? Take it up with the Court of Appeals. You dismiss without prejudice, and that means you can refile the next day. Same stuff. And not have to worry about claim/issue preclusion, which we'll talk about later in the semester. And not having to worry about relitigating the same things. Right? So, do you have to do it if you're the defendant? Do you have to do this on day 91? Who read the Larson case? You know? We'll talk about that in a minute. Think about what happened in that case. And think, as a matter of strategy, as the defendant, put your strategic hat on. Okay? Let's say day 90 rolls around, and the plaintiff's statute of limitations expires on day 120. Okay? The plaintiff's filed on day 1, day 90 rolls around, the defendant is still not served. On day 91, as the defendant, do you then move to dismiss the complaint? What do? See where I'm going with it? Anybody totally lost? It's okay, it's over. We'll plaintiff's statute of limitations runs on day 120, you file your motion to dismiss on what day? 21. 21, right? So just because, again, the rules give you guidelines as to what you can and can't do. But as defense counsel, you filing your motion to dismiss somewhere within this time frame means the difference between the complaint being dismissed without prejudice and the complaint being dismissed with prejudice. Does everybody see that? Yes? Have I lost any of you? Okay, right. That is dismissed with prejudice. The plaintiff has malpracticed their case. The plaintiff's lawyer has malpracticed their case. And the plaintiff will wait forever. You've done a great thing for your client. However unjust it may be in the grand scheme of things. Right? Everybody understand this? We know this, right? Keep going? Yes. So all that sounds pretty simple. What's the catch is, well, there's case law involved, and there's human beings involved, and there's all this fun stuff. Particularly when you get into the issues of what state law does and does not allow, and the boundaries of the Constitution. Right? Which is the point in Mullane. Somebody tell me the 10-cent version of what happened in Mullane. Quickly, if you want to get out of here early. What happens in Mullane? Yeah, right.
A bank decided they were going to shuffle a bunch of funds around, and they needed to notify people that had stake in those, I forget what they're called, those vehicles for those funds, and they didn't want to take the time to look them up, so they just published a notification on a paper, in like this small print back paper, and they were like, we've notified everybody that we're doing this, so there's a process.
It wasn't just that they didn't want to take time to look them up, was it? What was it that allowed them to do that in the first place?
New York statute.
New York statute. New York statute says you can publish the stuff in the paper, and you're fine. That's it. You comply with the rules for certain processes. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. That was it, pretty much. And then I guess it was Mullane, representing some of the folks whose funds got shuffled around. I imagine it probably wasn't very favorable to the people whose money got shuffled around. He filed a suit saying that it didn't get adequate service of process in the due process clause and laws to the trial and capital clause. They said because under the New York statute, that is adequate service of process.
What's the balancing test that the court identifies in this case? What are they trying to weigh out in determining how much process is enough? Because ultimately, what they decide here, as we've said, is that just publishing the information in the newspaper is not going to be enough to effectuate service on all these people. And what's the balancing test that they use to arrive at that conclusion? These balancing tests happen a lot in common law. Right? Happens a whole lot, Sarah.
I think another way to apply is that notice needs to be, the form of notice, the form of notice needs to be reasonably certain to one of those back and forth verifications do not reasonably permit notice, and the form shows it's not sufficient less likely to bring home notice and other reasonable constraints.
Right, there's that, right? Yeah. So that's more along the lines of the sort of magic language that we're looking for out of this opinion. Look with me at page 375, third paragraph down. Elementary and fundamental requirement of due process. Notice has to be what? Reasonably calculated under all the circumstances to apprise interested parties of the defense of the action and to afford them an opportunity to present their objections. Have you guys done procedural due process stuff in common law? Yes. Okay. It'll make more sense after you do that. Under procedural due process, the basic stuff of procedural due process is that before the government takes something away from someone, that person has to be given two things. One is notice, and two is opportunity to be heard. Okay? Those are the big questions you have. You have a client come into your office and say, look, the government took away my benefits, or the government did this, or the government did that. The first question you want to ask is, was there proper notice with the government? Did the government tell you ahead of time that they were going to do that thing that they did to you? And then secondly, did they give you enough opportunity to be heard? Okay? That is, did they listen to your side of the story? That is the basic stuff of 14th Amendment procedural due process. That's what this case is about. And they say those basic requirements aren't met here if you just publish a notice in the newspaper. That's not enough. You've got to go further. But back to my original question, what's the balancing test? Because it's not something we find all the time. What's the balancing test that the court uses to arrive at that? Yeah?
I think it was the individual due process rights versus how practical or impractical it would be to serve federal process.
The interest, I mean, this is the basic version, right? The interest of the state in getting business done and the interest of the individual in fairness. Okay? So you're balancing state interest against individual interest. Really, really common in all kinds of constitutional law jurisprudence. What's the holding here? What's the court holding? We touched on it. What ultimately happens? Yeah.
Since it was a binding settlement that for the accounts, whoever due process was not satisfied, just didn't meet that balancing test.
Kind of. Due process was not satisfied by what, Jack?
What says that they held that the notice of judicial settlement of the accounts by the New York banking law was incompatible with the requirements of the 14th Amendment as a basis for adjudication, depriving known persons whose whereabouts are also known as substantial property rights.
That's yeah. Where it says we hold the, right? The very last paragraph of the case. That's where the holding is contained more or less, right? What does that mean in plain English? What does it say? Yeah.
I felt like for the people that they didn't know, like that were unknown, they said, you know, it doesn't matter because it's probably not going to get to them anyway, so publication's fine. But for the people that they had addresses for and that they've been mailing stuff to, that they have to do, like, I can't use the language, but like basically reasonably calculated to reach the interested parties. So for them, it was wrong, but for the people who were unknown, they didn't really care because it's not going to reason.
That's right. And the interesting thing that happens here, though, notice of judicial settlements of accounts required by the New York banking law is incompatible with the requirements of the 14th Amendment. It's not there. Okay. The New York banking law that allows you to just do this in the newspaper is incompatible with the requirements of the 14th Amendment. Therefore, what happens to that banking law? Right? You can't use it like that. You can't use it like that. So that's another, this is why you get paid $300 an hour, right? There's another limitation on just something as simple as due process, that constitutional, I'm sorry, simple as service process, that constitutional limitation. So you have the federal rules that come into play, federal action, the state rules that sort of set some parameters for how people can be served. And then, on top of all that, does the method of service of process prescribed by the state run up against the constitutional problem? If it does, then that method's got to go. It's no good. Everybody with me? It's going to be much easier after you take some content. Much easier. Okay, and then larceny. Really quickly through larceny. What is the lesson? What is the precautionary tale that your authors want you to walk away with from larceny? What do you think? What do you think the point is of that case? Why was it included in your casebook? You know, casebook authors generally include these cases in your book for a reason. Not always, but most of the time. What do you think it's there for? Yeah.
When you want to be aware of like statute of limitations,
Yeah.
like even if the waiver process or whatever, like
Right.
still.
There's no waiver here.
Right.
There's no waiver. That does remove the problem actually.
Yeah. Well, even if there was,
Yeah. What do we think? What do you think? Wait, that's a plaintiff's attorney. Is that?
Don't we learn that the way they try multiple times to serve and to have them wait
Yeah, yeah.
and they ultimately go to the sheriff's department. They don't do it right when you go to your.
Right, yeah. Should have done that a long time ago. Get that done and over with, get it out of the way first. Right? Don't assume, I think the big lesson is, don't assume the service process is not an issue. Okay? Don't assume that it's not going to be an issue in the future. What's the controlling rule that the court uses to determine whether or not the service process was proper in this case? How did they come to the conclusion? What law did they look at to determine that service process was improper? Yeah? Minnesota's Rule 4, right? Rule 3. Everything's annoyingly different, right? See that in the middle of 3A2. State rules control, just like here at the time. How do the plaintiff fix this? Well, we already sort of touched on that, right? Make sure the damn thing gets served. Make sure it's really, really served. And just because the defendant knows about the action, is communicating with you about the action, doesn't mean the service of process has been effectual. So at the beginning, I'll say it again because it's very beginning. But the court had reached a different outcome here. One that didn't take Mrs. Larson's ability to sue for medical malpractice completely away from her. Because you understand procedurally what's happening here, right? She files the complaint within the statute, exactly the same scenario we were talking about before. So she files the complaint within the statute of limitations, and then the statute of limitations expires without the defendant having been served. The defendant moves to dismiss. The complaint is dismissed without prejudice. Can she then just go and refile it? No. No, she can't just go refile it. Why not? The statute expired. The statute's gone. So when you've been dismissed without prejudice and you go running back to the courthouse the next day to refile the same complaint again, it's like you're starting over. Right? This is a fresh start. It doesn't count that you filed it 6 months ago. All that stuff is gone. It's been dismissed, but it doesn't count anymore. As such, she loses her ability to file a medical malpractice case, no matter how badly she's been malpracticed on. My question was, would the court have reached a different outcome? Did they have to say that the case had to be dismissed? Did the court have to dismiss this case without prejudice under these circumstances? What do we have? Who says yes, the court had to dismiss this case under these circumstances? Who says no, the court did not? You have to pick a side. Who said no, the court did not have to dismiss the case under these circumstances? The court has got all kinds of leeway in matters like this. And if you had this in front of 5 different courts, you'd have 5 different results. Okay, 10 different courts, so at least 50-50, right? The court have said, yeah, the defendant's been participating here, and so we're going to say that this is constructive service process. They know about this. And so I'll give you 30 days, plaintiff, to effectuate proper service of process, and let's get on with the case. Can the court do that? Yeah, the court can do that. Sure they can. They're the court. They can do lots of things. What if the defendant had answered the complaint? Answer the complaint, raise insufficient service of process in the complaint, in the answer to the complaint, you should do if you're defending a case. You know there's an issue of service of process. Raise it as an affirmative defense in your answer. And then a month later, or however long later, after the statute of limitation runs, move for summary judgment based on improper service of process. Can the defendant do that? You mean to tell me that a defendant can lay in the weeds like that, knowing there's an issue of service of process, knowing that service is defective, or at least thinking that it is, and just sit on that information until after the statute of limitations runs, and then file a motion for summary judgment, thereby disposing of a plaintiff's entire case? You think a defendant can do that? Who says yes? Who says no? Sure they can do that. Sure they can do that. Sure. If you've got a judge that's willing to dismiss on service of process, which is, again, the biggest rule of all, is no lie judge. Okay? If you think you've got a judge, you're sitting in the defense counsel chair, and you think you've got a judge that's going to go for something like that, you can get rid of the complaint. You can get rid of the whole case. All right. We've already touched on this action. Don't have to comply with the service rules. We know this. If you look at the notes and questions and other stuff that's going on in your book, you know that someone has more than one usual place of the vote. In most jurisdictions, they're not going to just pigeonhole you with having one of those. If you look at Civil Rules 4.05 and 4.07, well, if you look at those 2 rules in the Kentucky Rules of Civil Procedure, that gives you the process that you need to appoint what's called a warning order attorney, which is for when you really can't find the defendant that you want to serve. You see this come up a lot in divorce actions. Anybody ever filed a motion for warning order attorney or done work on that before? So that's where those procedures are contained. If you really have to create on service of process, you can appoint a warning order attorney in case somebody can go out and say, yeah, I can't find it. Official versus individual capacity. Wait, if you take my civil rights class, which I'm sure all of you will, you'll learn that there's a difference between someone acting in their government official, acting in their official capacity, and acting in their individual capacity. Okay? This is really important for constitutional actions. Was someone acting in their official capacity, or were they acting in their individual capacity? Right? Police officers have an official capacity and individual capacity. The governor of Kentucky technically has an official capacity and individual capacity, right? The president of the United States, official capacity and individual capacity. Government officials of all shapes and sizes have it. And according to, depending on the rules in your state, you may have to serve a government official in both their official capacity and their individual capacity, which seems stupid. It is a fantastically stupid legal fiction, I'll grant you. But that's the law, right? Sometimes we gotta do things that seem unnecessary. And is it possible to serve someone in their official capacity, but not serve them in their individual capacity, and then have your individual capacity claims dismissed later on for insufficient service process? Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Trust me on that one. What happens? Yeah, thinking a couple of steps ahead into litigation. What happens if you serve somebody but they say, no, you didn't serve me, and then they go on pretending, it's different from the hypothetical we talked about before. So they don't answer, and they don't participate in litigation in any way, shape, or form. You serve somebody properly, you're sure it was proper service process, they still refuse to participate in litigation. What do? Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about default judgments later in the semester. Move for default judgment. Saying essentially, the defendant didn't answer, therefore we win. We should just automatically win. They forfeit. I'm not going to get you out of here, sorry. So then what happens though? You move for default judgment. They're going to contest that, right? Oh, show up and contest it. Hopefully for the defense. Plaintiff side, they don't contest it, you get your judgment, you walk away. The defense says, no, we were never served with process. Then you get into the situation that we talked about at the top of the hour, where you have this sort of pissing contest between people who are saying, yes, it was served, and no, it wasn't served. Yes, it was served properly, no, it wasn't served properly. It becomes an issue of fact for the court to resolve. Okay, some of the time. Doesn't usually happen. Okay, these problems. Adam sued person in federal court must or may the process server give a complaint in summons the person personally. Let's assume that we are in Kentucky.
Yes.
Yes. It's not a yes or no question. Must or may. No, yeah, you don't have to. Don't have to. Process server does not have to do that. Right? Certified mail is okay. It might give you more peace of mind to have a certified person, but you don't have to. Problem number 2. A sues B in federal court. A personally thinks the person's home leaving them with a 10-year-old girl. Was service process proper? Give me the chapter and verse on this one. Is it 4C? 4C is one. There's another one too.
E2B.
Yeah. Look. Okay. 4C says. It's proper in 2 ways, right? 4C says any person who's at least 18 years old and not a party, right? Not a party that runs up against the language called proper. That is personally. Leaving them with a 10-year-old girl, I'll call your attention first. E2B. Leaving a copy of each of the individual calendar because of both someone of suitable age and discretion, 10 years old, is not suitable age and discretion, even under the most lax of all trial judges, right? I don't think there's any jurisdiction in the country that has found someone to be of suitable age and discretion to be anyone under 15 or 16. Okay, so 10 years old is right out. How about 3? Adam sues person in federal court. Injury, blah, blah, blah. Process server hands the papers in person. Is weekend lakefront cottage in nearby county. Service process proper? What do we get? Make your case. Yep.
Was the county still in the same state as the federal court?
Yes. Good? Service is good? Service is not good. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think this is, the language here is that we're asking is usual of O. Is this something usual of O? So if you're answering one of these, let's say on a final exam, make sure that you throw some of that rule language in there. Let me know that you've read the right section of the rule, and that's how you came up with your answer. But how do you come out on that? I think that a weekend lakefront cottage in nearby county is probably enough to be usual of O. Right? A sues B in federal court. Process server leaves the papers with the limousine driver, answering the door, and there's a call. Driver doesn't live there. Service good? Service not good? Probably not. Probably not. The driver lived there? Right, we're going to see how we got to all that. Questions about service process generally? No? Good? Okay. So, you are still, in the last 15-ish minutes that we have here, you're still the plaintiff's attorney representing the court. This time, you're against 90 Hatfield, against the bar. It's a dram shop complaint against Wick's Pizza Incorporated in Kentucky. Drafting a summons for the state court. It'll take you, let's say, 45 seconds to do this. It's very, very simple. Draft the summons in Kentucky, the Kentucky State Court, not that federal summons we look at, that properly serves Wick's Pizza Inc. Yeah, this is not like a complaint. You don't just draft this up from scratch. There's a form that the clerk has to sign off.